question we asked was specifically, who would you rather meet, the president of the local bank who just gave you a loan to start your dream business, or the president of the United States? And overwhelmingly, the answer was the president of the local bank, who you can imagine is not as hip as the president that we're all watching around on Air Force One.
They are called by many Generation Y, or Echo Boomers, around 80 million Americans born between 1977 and 1995. And they're getting just old enough to not only impact cell phone sales and the way we watch television, but they're about to make significant and economy-altering decisions in banking. And it will affect every single one of us in one way or another. It's the way the economy works. Welcome to Midpoint. Senior Vice President for Media and Public Relations for the Independent Community Bankers of America, Aleis Stokes. Aleis, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Aleis, what is the buying power, though, of the millennials? Because in many ways we're told that, and in many conversations I've had people tell me, well, some of them are not quite there yet. They're still living with their parents in many places. They still don't have those great jobs. So why is their buying power all of a sudden so important?
Well, that's a great question. You know, they are a generation of nearly 80 million strong. And what our survey actually found was that they're very entrepreneurial. In fact, 36% of millennials hope to start their own small business one day. And that's astonishing and a real opportunity for community banks, which are America's small business lenders. They actually lend to 60% of all small businesses in this country.
They're all hoping to succeed, of course, as so many people are when you step out into an entrepreneurial case here. But are the avenues open for them to actually succeed and to be able to reach that high level of earning?
Absolutely. There is such an appetite in this country for small business. Small business really is the lifeblood of America. They're job creators, and community banks are there to serve their local entrepreneurs. So we encourage millennials who are interested in starting their own small business to reach out to their local community bank, and they can find their community bank by going to banklocally.org. They can just put in their zip code or download the app.
Is it fair to say that because, and we're bringing up a lot of community banks here, so we're talking about local institutions, that maybe because of their age, between 19 and 37, millennials are the type who simply don't trust Big Brother. They don't trust the big banks anymore. So they almost like to be around the guy, the gal who's like right there on the corner and deal with them. Is that pretty much the key to it all here?
Well, what we found through ICBA's survey is that 57% of millennials are interested in working with a locally operated institution, a community bank. And many community banks are actually multi-generational. They've been operating in their communities for decades.
But is it not fair to say that we're getting away from a lot of what are community institutions as well? Because people don't actually go to a lot of brick and mortar banks anymore. I mean, as far as I've been able to see here, millennials, what they're saying is we want to do our banking first on our phones and not even bother to go to the store. So it really wouldn't make a difference where the bank is located, community or internationally, would it?
Well, what we're seeing is that millennials really do value local financial institutions. They value community banks, and community banks do offer mobile banking and a lot of those tech-savvy services that they're looking for. Not only that, but we found through the Independent Community Bankers of America survey that they want that personal touch. They want that relationship from their banker, and community banks are relationship lenders. They want to sit down with their customers face-to-face, have a conversation, and really what we found through the study is that that's what millennials want. They want to sit down and talk to somebody who knows that local market and who knows their finances. One other thing I'd like to mention is that we found through ICBA's survey that nearly 70% of millennials, they want to know more about finances.
Well, wait a minute,
So
that's a good point here.
Opportunity.
They want to know more about finances, and there are certainly a number of people out there and a lot of financial experts that I've talked to that have sort of downplayed the millennials and their knowledge of finances in the first place. I've had one gentleman tell me, he said, quite frankly, millennials don't know anything about finances at this point because they're still living off their parents' apron strings. That was said to me, and I said, are you certain about that? He said, my experience with millennials is they don't understand yet exactly how the economy works. Is that fair, or was he just blowing smoke?
Well, what we found is that they want to know more about finance. There's a hunger there. They particularly want to know more about small business lending. And as they're coming up through the ranks, they're looking to buy their first home. They're looking to start their first business. And community bank is a great place for them to start. They can go in and talk to somebody face to face.
How are they going to change it now? Because I talked about this leading into the segment here. How are the millennials then, if indeed they reach a certain point of financial independence, if you will, they're able to get off the ground, they're making money, it's how are they going to change the way that everybody else banks, everybody who's over 37 years of age? Or in any sense, how are they going to change the overall economic system?
Well, I think it's by 2017, they're going to have more buying power than the baby boomers. So that just says it right there. This is an incredible generation, and what we're seeing is that they're a generation of entrepreneurs, and that bodes well for the American economy.
All right, so if you want to bring the millennials into your business then, let's just say that we're not specifically talking about community banks, but the businesses themselves, the owners, the shops, they want to bring the millennials in. How do they do it? What's the best way?
They make them, that's a great question. They make them feel special, Millennials are all about, and I don't mean this in that they're selfish, but they're very much into themselves as an individual. Make them feel special, and by doing that, you're going to go a long way. Also, they're incredibly visual, so they don't necessarily want a brochure. They want to see something on a screen. Text them. Ask them how you want them to communicate, how they'd like you to communicate with them, rather. Asking those questions goes a long way.
So we're basically talking here about using the toys of a generation in order to get them interested.
Yes, but make them feel special.
Okay, but do they really need to feel special, though? What is it about the millennials that, from your experience in some of the surveys, tells you that millennials need to feel, that they want to feel, that they deserve to feel special?
Well, they want that personal touch, and we found through the survey that 68% want to sit face to face and have a relationship with their banker. 55% of Americans in general feel like they're a number with a bank. That shouldn't be the case. Community banks are relationship lenders, so when they come to a community bank, they won't feel like a number.
So you've still got to make the millennials feel like VIPs. You've got to make them feel like they're very important, and then make sure that they're spending a lot and making a lot of money, right? And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Sure.
There you go. See, welcome to banking. It's all about you're making money, we make you happy. Here, take the money, we'll take the money in, and everybody will be happy along the way. That's really what it's all about every single day of the week. Aleis Stokes, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your comments and the survey as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. After the break, we will dive into the discourse between a city government and preachers from the pulpit in Houston, Texas, that has many people talking about government being involved in religious freedom. And later on this hour, we finally know what happens when superheroes throw down. Or at least we know what happens when superheroes throw down in Outland, which means anything can happen, and it usually does. That's coming up right here on Midpoint, where every single day we question everything.